What's going on, Paisanos? V here. Today I'm showing another video of the Shaddoll Invoked deck and it going up against Sky Strikers. This is a very interesting match, and the reason why I like this match so much is the fact that it shows what you should and shouldn't do in one match. I tried being aggressive, and when you play against Sky Strikers, if you try to be aggressive, you immediately get punished. There's no reason to get aggressive. See, Sky Strikers is a deck like they can't kill you. There's no like one turn where they can ideally just shut you down. This is like a hybrid variant. Most pure Sky Striker matchups, they just can't do it. So basically, what happens is in this matchup is you're gonna see me at times be aggressive and get punished, and at times be a little more conservative and not get as punished. And it's basically a changing of the gears. I really do like this match, and I really do like showing it to you guys. So we're just trying to see, we're trying to wait for a time limit, and this happened on Twitch TV. If you guys want to follow me and see me play Shaddoll Invoked, when I enter locals, I usually enter locals normally Monday through Fridays, sometimes on weekends, and you can get updates whenever I enter locals or when I start live streams by going to Twitch TV YGO_Paisano. Links will be down below, so please go check it out. Make sure to hit that follow button. And if you'd like to support this stream, I'd greatly appreciate if you guys are considering to hit that subscribe. Alright, so I'm going against my opponent, and I think I go first, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure. My hand isn't really that ideal, I remember. And basically, I'm trying to figure out what's the best route to go. Because I don't know, I have zero idea what he's playing. I don't know what my opponent's playing. So, right there, I'm going to go shotgun or Shaddoll Fusion. And this is a good indicator to let you know if your opponent has Ash plus Enjoy Spring or not. Obviously, our opponent did not have it, so we immediately went out with a window. And if I knew my opponent was playing, I would have been more concerned. I would have actually set Squamata and held Phantasme, because next turn they're going to win. But once again, you don't know what they're playing high since 2020. So I'm going to shotgun into a window. I'm going to have Hedgehog let me add a Wendy. I'm going to set one card face down and go ahead and set that Wendy face down. More than likely, my opponent knows what that's face down. I think I have one card in hand at this point. So they kind of get a good understanding of what what I'm playing with and what I'm using. So once again, we kind of went really aggressive right off the gate, and that's not how you necessarily want to do it. You really want to gauge your opponent, but the problem is when you're going first turn on game one, what do you do? Do you become aggressive? Do you not become aggressive? And it's a really hard situation when playing this deck, because you really don't know what you want to do. The only last card out my hand was the Ash plus Enjoy Spring, which I activated to stop his pot desires, which is huge. But once again, it really doesn't matter. He's going to Gandala my window, and it's whatever. I mean, my window's going to get effect. I'm going to go pop that Gandala on board, and I'm going to go ahead and activate Window's Effect in Graveyard. I'm going to Ash Shaddoll Fusion. Once again, we don't know what our opponent's playing. I did see that Gandala, and that kind of lets us know, at the very least, they're preparing to play against, like, Bird Up. Or they are playing Bird Up, because Bird Up can play as well. And that's basically the only information we have. They went to Zayas, and they did that. By going to Zayas, it might not be Bird Up. Once again, we know it's Strikers now, and there it is right there. He's bringing out a Ray. And I'm debating what I want to do at this point, because do we go window right now? Do we not go window? I think, once again, we're going to continue being more aggressive. We're going to go ahead and go window. We already have the foot in the pedal. Why slow down? So we're going to go window, and now his Ray is kind of in a bad position. He has to actually activate his Ray effect, and he was looking up Shaddoll Schism, and I was trying, I got to calm down my plays. That's one problem I personally have playing this deck. I get really excited about the plays, and I don't really get a chance to do exactly what I want to do. Or if I do it, I shotgun it and I run into a wall. That happens sometimes. But when I'm going to do it, I'm going to go ahead and bring out a window. And he's going to activate Ray's effect. Which he should, obviously, because Ray's dark, Wind is dark. It wouldn't be good if he let that go through. So he's going to activate Ray's effect. And he's going to go ahead and put a monster on board, which is going to be a Hayate. And we're going to go ahead and go right into a window. We're just going to try to lock him as fast as possible. We want a limited amount of things he can do. He has 3 cards in hand. I believe he has 3 cards in. Yeah, he has 3 cards in because he had 6 on the draw. So he has 3 cards in hand, so he has a limited amount of options that he has. And now with window on board, we limit that further. So he's going to attack us directly with 1500 damage right to our face. No big deal. Activating Hayate effect. Once again, no big deal. We don't really care about that as much because we're limiting the amount of plays that our opponent can do. And that's the only thing that matters right now. Once again, there's a way to do this in the right way and there's a way to do this incorrectly. I feel like if I meant more conservatively, that would have been even bigger for us. But we didn't go conservatively, unfortunately. So what we're going to see here is our opponent debating on what to send. And I mean, there's no really right or wrong answer as far as what to send this game state when you're in such a limited situation. So hold on one second. At one point in the game state, I'm not sure if it's this game or game 2, our opponent does activate Mystic Mine, and I'm not sure if you guys matter or not. Maybe you do care. I'll play it out, just in case you guys do care, because we're gonna play a little Drogo for a while. And when Mr. Mine's aboard, you're basically just going ugh. But we'll play by ear as far as that. So I'm not sure if it's game 1 or game 2. I forgot which game state it is. But right now he's in a bad situation with his monster. He's gonna pass turn, and we have that Shaddoll Fusion in hand from sending out the first window. So we get to get free advantage. We're going to top deck a Magical Meltdown. That's huge. And we're going to be able to do a lot of plays. Now, obviously, we want to go and send Arrow to the graveyard to get rid of his monster. We want to end this game up as fast as possible. And there was a bit of a misplay I did here, and I want to know if you guys caught it or not. I'll slowly show it to you, but we definitely had a way to end this game a lot more efficiently, and I don't think we did properly. But we are going to go ahead and get that fusion out there. We're gonna go into a App Cologne, and I mean we didn't really need to go into App Cologne, but we definitely wanted to send that Arrow to graveyard to get rid of his monster. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. We're gonna actually have App Cologne negate his monster's effect just because we can. We're gonna get a +1 in the draw, so we get a little more advantage, and we're gonna banish his 3 cards in the graveyard. So that's gonna put us in a really huge spot. And to be honest with you, like I said, I don't think this was the correct play. I felt like we could have went into a more conservative play, but we didn't get a chance to. But I don't think in the grand scheme of things now it matters in hindsight. But I think if we had so we're just gonna do a bunch of damage. But I think had we made a more conservative play, we could have did it a better way. By the way, the missed play right here was I should attack with Window because I was on the Schism. My window was brought out with Schism. So I'm going to attack with a bunch of monsters, and then later on I'm going to catch the fact that Windows brought out with Schism, so my opponent's going to get back his 2200 life points. But yeah, I should definitely have attacked with the window into his monster, into his Hayate, and then do the rest of the damage. That would have been huge. But we decided not to go with that. Which once again, it's definitely one of those plays that I get really excited about. I go forward. I'm being really aggressive right now because it's really hard to put the bricks on this deck and play a little slower game state when you have so much on the board. Our opponent, luckily, I think this is where he drew the Mystic Mine. And Mystic Mine, there it is. There it is. Mystic Mine. Exciting gameplay. So we're basically going to play Drogo for a while. And to be honest with you, at one point I'm thinking if I could get Bias off board, if I could use Schism to get Bias off board, we can play Drogo. It'd be good times. And we're going to be doing this for a while. And this is something I didn't really understand with our opponent. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think we make another misplay in this game as well, which absolutely cost this game because we could have won this game 1. But I think we do lose this game 1. I'm not sure. So let's go check out and find out what happens. But we're playing Drogo. And at one point I go, hey, listen. If I could go into Fusion Summons, if I could go Verdant and Akande, I can make it into 1 monster on board. That is, of course, if he puts another monster on board. So basically, I have to keep playing Drogo until I see a monster hit board before we can even start doing what we need to do. Now, unfortunately, I'm drawing a handful of Shaddoll monsters, which is something you just don't want to do. Like, the only Shaddoll monster I would have been happy with drawing was Beast, but we were sent to the graveyard. I'd be okay with drawing Phantasmic because we can sack monsters and make our board less. And making your board less is exactly what you want to do on the Mystic Mine. So opponent's gonna activate a Rhoda, and once again, our hand's full of monsters, which is like, ugh. The draws we were getting from mine were just absolutely atrocious. So he's gonna go ahead and get that monster, and yeah, which is Mystic Mine. Aren't you glad this card's still around, everybody? Like, could have got hit by the ban list, but it didn't. So here we are. And I'm just sitting there going, ugh. Like, this is nothing I can really do. I don't really main deck outs as much. There's still ways we can play around it. We can still sack a bunch of monsters, equal out the board state to put 1 monster on board. We can do that in a couple of draws. It might not be immediately. In this situation, it's definitely not immediately. And then I'm looking to see that I have a, double check and make sure my piece is in graveyard, which it is, unfortunately. I'm going to draw another card, and it's not Phantasmic, because that's what you want. You want to start putting Phantasmic on board. You want to start eliminating the amount of board space you have. And of course, you still want to be able to draw like Shaddoll Fusion or any other way to gain advantage. So opponent's gonna go ahead and bring out Ray, and he's gonna go right into a Hayate, and we're just in a really bad game state right now because we got mine on board, you got Hayate. To be honest with you, if he kept going Hayate and kept swinging on Hayate, I don't know if we would be able to win that game state, but I do know he definitely would have been able to get more damage by doing that. So that's something that I thought was really interesting. The fact that at one point in this game state, he decides to break away from his Hayate, which I don't agree with. I think if you do Hayate and you stick with it in this exact game state, you're in a really good situation. I'm not sure if he thought I kind of made any outs. I don't know any outs that Shaddoll Invoked deck plays. Maybe he thought I played Dogmatica. And he thought I said Dogmatica Punishment, which I guess is cool, but it doesn't even out it, I guess. I'll just get rid of buys on board. But it didn't matter if you just kept sticking your Hayate. And if you lost your Hayate, you go into a Sky Trigger monster and go back into Hayate. I mean, that's a way to do it. But once again, here I go. I'm gonna go use Eldar Fusion. I'm not sure if I was supposed to banish those or not. I forgot. Once again, my brain was all like bleh. Well, I think with Schism, I was supposed to banish those. I'm not sure if I used Shaddoll Fusion. Like I said, when mine on board, could you blame me of not knowing anything? God, this card's still around in this game. Really? This card? Really? Are you just not hitting it at all? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Anyway, once again, I'm trying to limit the monsters. Once again, we already got one monster less on board. He has one monster on board. I'm trying to figure out my outs. Once again, I'm trying to get it so I can bring out Phantasme on board. Because if I can bring out Phantasme on board, I can equal out with him. And every turn, he's basically putting me in the clock by swinging 15, swinging 15, swinging 15. Stacking his grave the way he wants to stack it so he could draw better cards. And here I am. I'm just going, oh my god, this is not good. I was going to link away to two of my monsters to go into Vernic Anaconda. I think I do. I could be wrong. No, I think I used Shaddoll Schism, I think. And I didn't have the right material, so I was like, well, can't do that. I could have went to Predator Anaconda, but the problem is by going into that, it really didn't do anything. He's not going to attack it. I could have went to Predator and Anaconda, attacked this monster, took more damage, and then end phase, his mind goes away. That's a play I could have done. It wouldn't have been as good, but it would have at least got us to a situation in which we could actually play Yu-Gi-Oh!, get rid of mine. And now that I think about that, that's probably the play I more than likely should have done. I would have took a lot of front-end damage, and I would have been relatively low, but I would have been out of mind. But the problem is I had a handful of monsters. And with a handful of monsters, not much you can do. If I was to make that play, what I have left? A Schism. And as you just saw recently, there was like I could have done with Schism. So here's where I just get really confused. I mean, he's going to go play multi-role. He's in a demanding position, but I think he gets greedy. And I don't know why. I've played against second place in the past, and normally when they have mine out and have a Hayate, they're not doing much. They're going fine. I'll start setting back row. I'll keep swinging my Hayate, and we'll wrap this game up. But he doesn't do that. What he decides to do is go into Kagari and tries to add more cards to his hand. But then you're down Hayate. So if I get rid of one of your Hayates, unless you play Hercules Beetle, like you lose. You lose on that ability just to keep attacking directly. And then we played deck out the game, and I'm going to win that because you play Desires. So once again, I don't think this was the right play by our opponent, but at the same time, I think this was one of the plays he was probably saying to himself, hey, this Invoke Shaddoll player, he's waiting for the card. He's waiting to limit his game state. He's waiting to get rid of my mind, and the minute he does, I'm going to world of hurt. And I guess for that mentality, this is why he decided to be aggressive. But this is a game that we both didn't need to be aggressive as, and I think we'd be playing a totally different game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So he's going to multi-row and get rid of Mystic Mind. And I'm going, dope. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Please, multi-row the Mystic Mind. Please tell me you play only one. And let that never come back to the board. So he's going to go ahead and activate his that card to banish my Ash and bring it on his side of field. No, bring it on his side of field. I forgot the name of the card already. But anyway, he's going to bring Ash and he's going to start link climbing. And once again, we already know what he's going to do. He's going to Needle Fiber, bring out Celine's. Needle Fiber, bring out Valor, and then bring out Celine, and then use Celine effect. And here's where I made a tremendous misplay. And once again, this deck, and I keep saying it, I'll continue saying it, this is a deck. It's the best deck in the meta. But if you lose, it's because of you. And you'll see my misplay in a second, which cost me the entire game. We had a pretty stacked hand. We had a way to come back from this match. And somehow, some way, I decided to go, oh, no. I don't want to win game one. Winning game one is boring. Game 2 and 3, that sounds like good time. So here we go. He's going to start making his plays. He's going to use the Celine to bring out his Effect Veiler. And he's going to link away and go to Axial Talker. And he has a lot of gas in that tank. We're talking light, water, wind, fire. He has 4 bullets in the gun that is Axis Cold Talker. And we got a good board. And here's another thing that he does that I just go, huh? Okay. He's going to go ahead and activate Axial Talker and he's going to start sniping, right? Now, in this situation, first of all, I don't think he should be in this situation. But since he is in this situation, I'm at 5,000 life points, by the way. He's going to go ahead and pop my App Cologne and use App Cologne effect. I'm going to look at my hand, see my available options. And here's what I just, once again, I'm going to add a card. I forgot what I add here. Let's see. I think I added the other Shaddoll trap, the Shaddoll, if I'm not mistaken. So I can start mounting my way to relock them. Well, let's see what happens here. Yeah, so I'm going to activate Shaddoll. And I'm going to go ahead and discard Shaddoll cards. So I'm going to discard Squamata and then proc Squamata's effect. Now, I really didn't need to do this. In fact, I should not have proc Squamata's effect. Because what I should have done, and I'm going to send Dragon, by the way. Dragon effects and get rid of his multi-row, so there goes that problem. But what I should have realistically done was just not do that. Multi-row wasn't really that much of a problem. I didn't find it to be that much of a problem. But I was being more preemptive in a situation in which game was on board, which once again was not the right play. He's gonna banish and get rid of my, and this is where he made his misplay because I don't think he needed to get rid of that. If I didn't see, I don't think I had any answers, and I think he should have known at this point that my Schism wasn't really live at the moment. But he decides to get rid of Schism, which is fine, no big deal. So he's gonna go ahead and activate his guy again. And I believe this is the last bullet in the gun that is access code. And I'm feeling confident. I go, hey man, I got a Wendy on board, and no big deal. You're gonna blow my Wendy up. I'm gonna get Wendy effect. You have no bullet. I'm gonna verify once again how many bullets is in that gun. That gun's empty now. Okay, that was you should not have gotten rid of Schism. You're gonna get rid of my Wendy. I'm gonna proc Wendy's effect, and I'm gonna bring out a Shaddoll monster. Is what I would have done if I had one. And once again, I didn't need to make that play. I just immediately realized there's none. This sucks. I had such a good next turn. Had I knew that, I would have not decided to do that. I would have had my Squamata set on the... And I looked at the deck, too. Like, I saw the deck. I saw I had one Shaddoll monster. But once again, being too excited and not making the correct play cost me this game. This loss was because of me and not because of the deck. I would have sent a Shaddoll card to the graveyard. That was not... that was not the trap eating Shaddoll monster, spell trap eating, I should really say. And I would have been in a much, much, much better position. Had I sent another card instead of Dragon, I think we would have brought Dragon out, and then if he attacked, I would have bounced his monster out. Once again, we would have been in an amazing position, but due to the fact that I made that misplay, we're not, and that's what cost me. Once again, that loss was on me and not on the deck. People were, you can also say Mystic Mime as well, because Mystic Mime is Mystic Mime. What are you going to do? Now, I'm down 1 with 33.5 minutes left on the clock. I got to come up 2 games, okay? Which is it's very doable with this deck, because once I know what you're playing, once I know what your deck wants to do, I can easily respond to what you want to do. For the most part, I know you're playing a pure version of Strikers. We definitely know you're playing Mine, but nevertheless, I was still going to play cards like Twin Twisters in because... mine. So we're in a really good situation. The only question is whether or not we can draw a decent hand. We don't need to be aggressive. We do not need to be aggressive. In fact, we can even play cards like Evenly Match. That's how crazy non-aggressive we need to be. We could go first, draw a hand, and not even do anything. We really there's just so much leeway when you're playing against a pure show. And I'm a little bit upset because once again, when you make one misplay that costs you a game and it's 100% on you, it's the worst feeling in the world. This game. The only thing you can do, especially with Shaddoll Invoked, and this is why I love this deck, because this deck teaches you to become a better player. The only thing you can do is analyze your deck when you go in it, analyze your graveyard, analyze everything as much as possible. Once again, you're always analyzing the cards in your hand, the cards in your opponent's hand, what's in the graveyard, what's banish. Obviously you always want to give a quick check on, make sure you have enough time in the round. Look at your banish, look at your graveyard, look at your options, and then make the play. In this situation, I rushed, I didn't look at my deck, and it cost me. Okay. So there's a lot of great cards we can sign for this matchup. We can sign in cards like they're going to be 1 because when the minute they go onto any monster, specifically I like to leave them on a Hayate, or if not a Hayate, I mean a Kagari, and then you flip the 1 because they can't link someone to any other striker monster due to the fact that all machines in extra deck. So that's kind of cool. We could have played Evenly Match also, which is a great card to clear their backer out due to the fact that they're trying to set up. We could also play Twin Twisters, which is a huge card as well. So we have a ton of great options. So right off the gate, I'm going to go ahead and activate Magical Meltdown. I have a ton of cards in my hand. I'm feeling pretty confident right now. Oh, he went first and past turn, by the way. That's why I have 6 cards. Just want to throw it out there. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and add Aston to my hand. I'm going to analyze what I have here. Once again, it's always now I'm in I don't need a rush to kill my opponent mode. The thought of him having a mine on me game 1 is going to stick with me. So I'm going to summon Alistair, and I'm going to activate Effect, which is immediately going to get hit with a Effect Veiler, which, I mean, it kind of sucks, but that's the kind of situation you're in, you know? You got to deal with the, play the hand you're given. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my Alistair, go into Artemis. That's a light target right there. A lot of people ask me, and this is another question I get asked a ton. People go, V, you don't have main deck light targets for Construct. Well, my answer is very simple. I don't necessarily need to run the Construct early in the game state. I just don't. So I'm going to activate Invocation, and he's going to respond with a Lance. That's 2 hand traps, and his hand's not, he has 3 cards in hand, so I'm okay with that. So eventually I'm going to put the Alistair back in. But anyway, people ask me, V, why don't you run any ways to go with Construct, game turn 1? And I don't want to go Construct turn 1. I'd rather go Winda turn 1, or even App Cologne turn 1. If you're going Construct turn 1, you're just trying to send more cards to the graveyard, which, don't get me wrong, you're trying to get more value. But why would you just leave Construct out there? Why would you get rid of Construct as fast as possible? The only time you would want to go Construct in game 1, if you're in a situation like the situation I'm in right now, in which you have like an Eldol, and you can get Eldol with a Construct and send a light target to graveyard and get double value. And that's what we're doing right here. A majority of the time, you don't want to go into Construct unless you are forced to go into Construct. In this situation, we decided to go into Construct. Once again, I could have went into other cards, but we decided to go into Construct. Hedgehog's going to ask that Wendy. Construct's going to help us dump a card because that Link monster on board, the Artemis, which is light. So that's another way to go into it without really necessarily needing to rush. I believe we're still doing this during the battle phase as well, so we're going to get some value. I'm going to send Wendy, add Wendy. Do the same thing with Skomata. I mean, it's not bad with Skomata, but I'd rather have it Wendy in case I want to play a more conservative turn. And then when we're swing for another 20 on top of the 8, we're already dealing with him. We have 3 in hand, he has 3 in hand, and we have way more cards on board as well. So in this kind of situation, this kind of game state, going Construct is definitely the right play. But I feel like you don't necessarily always need to want to go into Construct as early as possible. If you can, most of your hands are going to be ending up with like a Winda or an App Clone. In this situation, I would have went into a Winda, by the way. But due to the fact that we only had 1 Dow in hand and a light on board, we're going to hit that Construct. So that's why we decided to go to that, by the way. Okay, so we're going to set 2 cards face down and have 1 in hand. And to be honest with you, I forgot everything I had. He's going to summon Prankatops, and I'm okay with that. Once again, we're in such a demanding position. If our opponent has to bring a Prankatops, we're okay. Unless he's going to activate Effect to pop, because that kind of concerns me. But other than that, we're in an okay position. I think one of my cards I have down is Shaddoll Schism, if I'm not mistaken. So we're in a really, really, really good position. I don't care really about his monster on board. And he's going to go ahead and declare an attack, and we're going to just get more value. Okay, it's Beast. Okay, excellent. So we're going to use Beast Effect. We're going to draw 2 and pitch 1. Our hand is looking cleaner by the day. We're going to get rid of that Wendy that we just added to our hand. Like I said, you could have get Skomata as well. In hindsight, I probably would have went Skomata, just to send Skomata, then to send Wendy, to then our deck out to have better chance of drawing better cards. And then we're going to set a card face down. I believe I set a Hedgehog face down. Just to let our opponent know, hey man, you get rid of my Hedgehog, I'm going to get value. So if you let it flip, I'm going to get value. It's a lose-lose situation for you. You let me know what you want to do. You know, my opponent has 2 cards in hand with 1 face down. I believe he's going to pass her in this instance, so he's gonna, he's gonna let us cut in half, and then we're gonna draw for a turn. Once again, we are in such a dominating position, and this is a little bit more of a slower of a game state. We're not shotgunning a lot of cards. We're not going too crazy. Oh, it was a Skomata. Okay, so I had a Skomata face down. So my Skomata face down is going to 100% force out the Pankatops, which is great. So we're gonna force our opponent to make a play. We're gonna force our opponent. Excuse me. We're going to force our opponent to make a play that they don't want to make. And this is excellent. This is what we want them to do. We want them to be uncomfortable. We want them to make plays and go, man, I really wish I could have did it this or that. No. Skomata says you got to do it now or you're losing a monster. And that's what we want to do with this deck as much as possible. So what we're going to go ahead and do, he's going to activate, I think he's going to target my Construct, but I'm going to Eldol. And I'm going to get rid of my Construct as well as my, once again, we're going to Eldar, we're going to get rid of it. We're activating a card we don't want to activate. He kind of did it back to us. But with less resources, we're still at a huge advantage. So our Construct's going to go ahead and let us add, I believe I think, Eldar to our hand. We had the other Eldar. It doesn't really matter at this point. and then our counter is going to send a card to the graveyard. And I'm just verifying how many cards in hand. I'm verifying the graveyard. I'm verifying everything. I'm debating on sending that dragon to the graveyard just to pop his back row to put him on less resources. And that's what you gotta want to do with this situation. When we are ahead on life points, when we're ahead on cards, do we want to push our opponent back more? I opted to go with Ariel, and here's a dealio. Ariel's a really cool card in which Ariel could banish up to 3 cards in any graveyard. Being the fact that we used our invocation and our Alistair's dead on graveyard, we're gonna have Ariel banish Alistair. We're also gonna have Ariel banish his Pankatops in case he might as well be born, as well as his Veiler in case he's trying to go into that link play with Celine. So we're just leaving him a Lancey on the graveyard. Have fun with that. Then we're gonna go ahead and activate invocation, add Alistair back to our hand, and then summon Alistair, being the fact that we haven't summoned for this turn. Now we're telling him, hey, you gotta need to stop this because we're putting him in a better habit. He does have it again. We're just never ever gonna resolve our Alistair at this point. But he has the second Veil to stop the second Alistair. We're gonna shuffle up and we're gonna do we're gonna do 3,000 damage to our opponent. It's not what we wanted to do. It's not the game state we wanted to be in, because we wanted to hold a spell in case our opponent has a mine on board. And that's why we wanted Alistair to get us into a Macabre. But it's all we got. So I'm looking at my hand, see if there's anything else I can do. I don't think there's anything else I could do. You're going to see chat freak out in a second about what happened. Because there's a little confusion in chat as far as Lancey. Lancey was activated in our last turn. And in this turn, we decided to do this play. So chat's going to freak out for a second. But yeah, no, we're going to go ahead and send the card down. We have 2 in hand. We're still in a great and dominant position. Opponent has 1 face down, 1 in hand. That's it. That's all they have. The best they can go do is bring out a top deck Ray. That's the best play they got. He's gonna go ahead and activate another Desires. And unfortunately, do we have it? Woo! We have that Ash. Let's go. And I think that's a wrap for this game. Okay, yeah. So that's a wrap for this game. This is another good example of the resource management between DAOs. You saw us in game 1. We were dominant right off the gate. But then you saw us in game 2. We were playing a lot more conservative. I wasn't going too crazy. I wasn't dedicating too many cards to the board. I was kept analyzing the graveyards, both mine and his. I was kept making our opponent do what we didn't want him to do, making plays that our opponent was not comfortable with. We kept trying to get resources. That's why we had the B set face down. We could have went into other cards and added like a hedgehog and try to go like Eldon and try to be super aggressive, but we didn't need to be. We just went with Beast with a contract on board, just letting our opponent know, hey man, whatever you do, whatever place you make, try to get an advantage. I got this face down card. It's gonna immediately let me get an advantage. I have a contract on board that's gonna let me immediately add that Eldon back to my hand. So we were in a great spot. So that's basically the summation of that turn. Just trying to continually gain advantage. Now, this game, I believe, is going to be a little bit more grindier because I believe our opponent's going to want to go first, which means he's going to be able to establish buys on board. The Glory 1, I think I still put it in this deck because I think the Glory 1 is still a huge card, which allows us to just lock our opponent out of a lot of plays that they really want to make. And yeah, once again, there we are as a side. And the thing about Shaddoll Invoked, by the way, and I feel like from day 1, the minute I finished this deck and had it complete, even the first iteration of this deck, is the fact that like we really honestly went into real quick side. And with this deck, I feel like I side really fast all the time. It's not because I'm a skillful sider. I'm really not. But the deck is really easy to side in and side out for. And eventually, I'll get around to making like a side deck video once I'm finally completed with the main deck of Shaddoll Invoked. Right now, I feel like the deck is completed. We still got. I'll probably give it another week of testing with this build. And if I don't make any changes within a week, then I'll make another video discussing what to side in and out for. It's not that hard, but it depends if you go first or second. Is depending on what you side in and out for. So that will be coming in roughly around a week, but I want to make sure I don't really make any changes. We did make some changes, and I have a deck profile coming on this channel if it's not on this channel already, of the new version of this deck, explaining all the choices we have for the new cards we have in the side, as well as cards we have in the main deck as well, and the reasons for these choices. Okay, so opponent's going to decide whether to go first or second. I really don't know if he wants to go first or second, but I do know, once again, you're playing against strikers. You don't need to be aggressive. That's something that's really important. I don't need to be aggressive, and neither do you when you play against strikers. Remember, they can't kill you. The most they can do to you in one turn, ideally, is 3,000 damage. That's an average ideal board in which they're going to summon Ray, battle phase, swing 15, get rid of Ray, go into a monster, and swing for another 15. So we're going to go first, and once again, here's super competitive. Super conservative play. I could have had plays I could have did right now. What I decided to do is set one card face down. The card face down, by the way, is they're going to be 1. So the minute they do anything, I'm going to flip it and force them to activate something like a Twin Twisters, which is going to put them back a bit. They're not going to be comfortable with that play. I believe that's what our opponent is citing. He's going to go ahead and activate Desires. And we had Desires for the last... we had Ash for the last 2 Desires. I'm pretty sure this one goes through, which is, what are you going to do? There's not much you can do in this situation other than go, okay. So immediately, our opponent's going to gain some advantage. And it's whatever. Once again, we're not freaking out too much. He can't do that much damage to us. He's going to go activate Area, which is definitely a problematic card. So in my mind, I'm thinking, the opponent has an Area. The best way to get rid of that card is hit it with App Cologne. Make it useless. So he flips 3 cards over, and he flips a Lightning Storm and Dark Ruler. And I'm happy. And then, of course, he gets a card to his hand, and I'm like, well, there goes that. But hey, listen, at least we know what our opponent is playing. Dark Ruler no more. Lightning Storm. And I'm sitting there going to myself, okay, if he's playing Lightning Storm, can he activate it? Would he have activated it? Why didn't he activate it? There's one face-down card, so more likely he doesn't have it. And then what our opponent's going to do is going to go ahead and set 2 face-down back row. I think he has 4 in hand. I'm about to verify 4 in hand. It's a pretty big turn for our opponent, I'll be honest with you. I'm not even going to lie about it. That's huge. In our hand is Twin Twisters. So we definitely have Twin Twisters. And the question is, do we activate it now? Well, why? Why would we want to activate it right now? That's the other question. There's no need to. Remember, if we can't be aggressive, we can't come at our opponent's throat, why would we activate the card preemptively? And if we do Twin Twisters, can we follow up with anything important? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the card face down. And here's another thing I like to do with this deck a lot. If I'm playing a slower game state, I'll set an Alistair face down. I'm not sure that's Alistair. I think it's Alistair, though. But I'll set Alistair face down. The reason why I'll set Alistair face down, because 800 defense is still a lot of defense, number 1. Number 2, if he summons Ray and this battle phase swings with Ray, he's going to take 3 to the face. And he's going to flip out Alistair for us. What happens when Alistair's flipped? Simple. Our Alistair is going to let us go ahead and add Invocation to our hand. All because our opponent decided to attack our monster. Which is another play I like to do when we play a lot more conservative Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's something you can do if you're playing in a much slower game state. You can set an Alistair, especially if you have a card like the only one to back you up, and you can be a lot more comfortable. So our opponent is basically trying to fish. I didn't know at the time, but our opponent is fishing for a Ray or any monster you put on board. I know strikers have to strike a spell, Hornet drones, or anything like that, to start doing his combo. But he's not able to find it. He's gonna send out a card face down. He's gonna pass turn, and at this point, I'm going, okay. If he has mine, he has mine. I think I start suspecting our opponent is fishing. I'm not sure yet, but I'm suspecting he is. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and activate that Twin Twisters. I'm going to go, okay, let me be a little more aggressive now. Being the fact that our opponent is not being aggressive, that tells us they can't put a Ray on board, which lets us know that we can go ahead and be more aggressive and make some more plays. So I'm going to go ahead and activate that card. I'm going to discard a Ariel, which I don't want to discard, but at the same time, our hand is really good. And our opponent's going to go ahead and look in the graveyard. He's going to activate that Banish Your Monster card, so he does. And he loses another card. I forgot what that card is. I think it's Widow Anchor. And here we go. Boom. Flip out Alistair. Get effective with Alistair. Go ahead and Ash it. I mean, not Ash it. Veiler. Same difference. I go, you know what? Okay. We don't have as many cards in the hand as our opponent, and especially after activating Twin Twisters. But our opponent did lose a lot, and we didn't lose as much. He lost 2 back row. He pitched a card out of his hand. That's all I keep thinking about. Once again, we're not in a I'm going to kill you this turn mode. No. We're not in a put a lot of monsters on board mode. No. We are in a very simple, I'm going to put a monster on board. I'm going to flip monsters, trying to get a little value, one at a time, and I'm going to try to do some damage to you. And that's what we do. We hit him for 1,000, and we're going to pass turn. Our opponent still has a lot of cards in his hand. We're still trying to play conservative as possible. And we're still trying to count the amount of available plays our opponent can do. Once again, if you have Ray, summon the Ray. If you don't have Ray, activate your Area 0. And even if he activates Area 0, can he get to the Ray? We'll find out right now. So he's gonna he's gonna set a card, activate Area 0. He's gonna mill another 3 cards. There's a Lancia, and there's a monster he was looking for. So he's gonna add that monster to his hand. And now our opponent's going to be able to start playing some Yu-Gi-Oh! He got rid of his triple attack as talents, which is a big deal for us. I don't think, I mean, once again, I don't know what he had in his hand. I kind of would have kept that card. I think talents against the Shaddoll Invoked matchup is a phenomenal card due to the fact that your opponent playing Shaddoll Invoked more than likely will want to proc effects. Remember, when Shaddoll's going to graveyard, they get effects. You know, that's a pretty big deal. So he's going to summon out his monster. I always forget this monster's name, but I know it's an ultra rare with a ridiculous amount of money that's in desperate need of a reprint. More likely we'll get a prismatic reprint if I had to guess. He's going to put his monster on board, and I'm going to go, okay, cool. I'm going to get Phantasme, and I'm going to, once again, cycle my hand. My hand's not that good right now. It's not as good as I like it to be. Phantasme makes it good. So now we're being a little more aggressive, okay? Just a little more aggressive. And we're going to look through our hand. We're going to figure out what can we do. What can give us the best potential chance of winning. Because either you put mine on board or we win, or we try to go for your throat. So I'm gonna offer to cut to our opponent. He's gonna swing 1,500 damage, and he's in battle phase, and we're okay with that. I think he's gonna swing at my Alistair, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. So we're gonna see. Yeah, he's gonna swing at Alistair. We'll eat the 5. He's gonna activate Hayate's effect, but face down still is they're gonna be 1. So we're in a very good position. They're gonna be 1, and he's not gonna be able to change it. The minute he tries to exit out of battle phase, we're gonna go, wait 1 minute. They're gonna be 1. So now he can't. Now he can't swap his monsters. Now he can't go into Hayate. Now he can't go into Shizuku. Now he's in a bad spot. I think he has 4 cards in hand still, and I'm like, god damn. And so he's gonna attempt to exit out of battle phase, I believe. I think he's looking at his extra deck right now, his banish pile. He's gonna try to exit out of battle phase, and I'm gonna go, wait a minute. Here you go. Okay, there you go. Because had we went to main phase 2, obviously our opponent would maintain turn player priority, which means they can cycle to something, which is a problem for us. But by going into this play, no more bigger problem. Now we lock them. And that's how this card is very strong in this matchup. Any kind of tribal deck that's like how strikers are kind of tribal, this card is really good in. It's good against Dragonlings as well when your opponent tries to make. I like to wait till my opponent summons a dragon and then we flip it on them, just to let them know, hey, guess what you're not doing. It's good against those decks that play a lot of one thing. And like I said, Dragonlings going second against this deck. You go into like a window and you set a face on. They're gonna be 1. Your opponent would more likely have the Dark Ruler. More likely, if not a Dark Ruler, they'll have a way to get out of your window. I'm almost betting on it. But they're not going to really set that much backward removal. Or they're not going to draw into that kind of setup. And they're going to be in a really bad position. That's what we want our opponent to be in. So we're just verifying cuts with our opponent. Once again, they're going to be 1s on board. We're feeling really good right now. He has a striker monster in graveyard. Now, here's where I made a play that I should not have made. I should not have summoned Alistair yet. But I'm going to. And it meets another Veil. Now, in our hand, we have Spellbook of Knowledge. And I should have Spellbook of Knowledge on Alistair and then play Shaddoll Fusion. And this is my misplay. I played Shaddoll Fusion, but it was a blessing in disguise. Let me explain. So we played Shaddoll Fusion. And we're going to get rid of our Pankatops in deck. And we're going to get rid of Shaddoll Monster. And we're actually going to go into a... Shekanaga. For anyone who doesn't know, Shekanaga is a machine. So what we have currently on board at that point, after the resolution of Shaddoll Fusion, is a Shekanaga, an Alistair, and a Phantasme. Dragon, Spellcaster, and Machine. By the way, our Alistair loves getting Veilered. I just want to throw it out there. If you have Veiler, please give it to my Alistair. I don't even like Invocation. The card's not even that good. Anyway, so I immediately know I made a misplay. And once again, this is another thing about stop, think, make the play. Something I constantly say, but I never do, evidently. And this is definitely something that I should have gotten punished for in the game state, but I didn't, actually. One thing, we're going to go into attack mode Shekanaga. Look at that beautiful looking Ultima Rare. And we're going to go ahead and get Beast Effect. I'm going to offer the cut to my opponent before we get to draw, as everyone should do. Boom. I'm going to draw, and let's see what we got here. We got 3 cards in hand, and I'm going to go ahead and activate Spellbook of Knowledge. Now, I had it in my hand. I should have got rid of that Alistair. We really should have gotten into some other cards. But once again, hindsight 2020. So I don't think I Spellbook of Knowledge yet because I want to get some more damage on board. So we're gonna attack his Hayate, and I'm gonna say waiting for him to special summon a monster. I don't think you can special summon that monster. Once again, I don't know what that other Ultra Rare Sky Striker does. I just know, right? I gotta play Striker. I want to play Striker sometime. Anyway, main phase 2, I'm gonna Spellbook of Knowledge after doing all the damage. I'm gonna get rid of our Alistair, and we're gonna draw 2 cards, putting us at 4 cards. So now we're starting to maintain advantage. We got a good luck on board. The only thing that can hurt us, is a Mystic Mine. and our ability to not draw a way out of it. So we'll see what happens right now. I'm going to go ahead and set the card face down. We have a pretty nice board. Our opponent is now in I don't want to say top deck mode, because he still has area 0, which he can get advantage for, and that's kind of why I wanted to go Apcolone to get rid of that. But unfortunately, once again, I made a little bit of a misplay, and he can now get free value that he really shouldn't get, but he can because we don't have the answer. And he's going to overturn 3 cards. Look as far as what he has. I forgot what he added just right then and there. You guys probably get a better look at it than I would. And he's just going to go over his options. We have 11 minutes on the clock. We're in a demanding position. And all I'm doing, I'm sitting there waiting for Mystic Mind. Because at this point, I go, it's going to drop on board. It'll slow the game state down, but we're not at a bad position. And we only have 2 monsters on board. That's exactly what you want. If you're worried about Mystic Mind and you're playing a slower game state, having 2 monsters on board that you can easily get rid of by going into, well, in this case, I would go into like our Anaconda, and I could always smack into his monster and then have less monsters, so we'll put them on it. So that always, you know what I'm saying? But 2 monsters on board is ideally what you always want to have. Not really 3. 2 is more than likely going to be the best answer. So I drew another Twin Twisters, and at this point, we're just going to try to end this as fast as possible. We're going to Pistol Skomata with the Twin Twisters, because we can't really summon Skomata. I mean, we can, actually, but watch, you'll see why it doesn't really matter in a second. We're going to aim for his back row, because we're trying to go for a game at this point. And, you know, it's up to him if that back row is good enough. He has 3 spells, more than 3 spells in Graveyard. So if he has, like, a Widow Anchor, he's going to be able to resolve it. Well, attempt to resolve it. Obviously, with Phantasme, it's not happening. But if he had something like a Metaverse, that would resolve, and we would be really sad. But we are ahead of life points, which is a pretty positive note. What do you got there? Is that a Widow? It's not Widow Anchor. It's the other one. Anchor something. Whatever. Let's see now. Oh yeah, another cool thing I like about Shakanaga is the fact that you know, since we have a Shaddoll monster in hand, if you did activate a monster effect, like if you know, like it would be good to negate. It's just like, you know, a little extra thing. Anyway, our face down card is a El Shaddoll. Oh, I think that was the Widow Anchor. So our face down card is the El Shaddoll Fusion, and we're gonna go ahead and activate El Shaddoll Fusion. We're gonna go into an Apcolone at this point, and we're just gonna try to punch our opponent as much as possible. But I think at this point our opponent has seen enough. Oh no, I'm wrong. Maybe he hasn't seen enough. Okay, thirsty for more. Cool. And then we're gonna do some chain links. The last chain link is gonna be Apcolone. Not that it really matters, but we're just gonna Apcolone and blank his area 0, which we've been wanting to do for like a bunch of turns, but now we get to do it. And we're gonna Astral Fusion to our hand. I don't know if I special anything on board. I don't think I do. I think I want to keep it at 2 monsters. And I'm just gonna try to get some damage done. And that's basically a game at that instance. So I really appreciate you guys watching watching this video. Thank you so much, everybody. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please make sure to hit it. Go ahead and follow me on Twitch, and you can see me play these matches live. The one thing I like about doing these matchups and talking about these matches is how we can analyze the game state, what I needed to do, and if you were in my game state, what you could also needed to do, and what we could have played to made us win faster or play better. And that's the thing with this deck, Shaddoll Invoked. The more you know about how to play better, the more better you become at the game itself, due to the fact that this deck doesn't have any great matchups. It doesn't have any worse matchups. It just has straight up matchups. And if you are better with the deck, your potential of winning go up astronomically. The sky's the limit. It just matters about how good you are at playing your cardboard. And I think had I played a lot more efficiently, this game would have been over 2-0. But due to the fact that we made some misplays that we talked about in this video, unfortunately we didn't get there as far as that. But listen, guys, I've talked to your ear long enough. Thanks so much for watching. Like I said, hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and make sure to follow me on Twitch when I do these live streams, and you'll be able to see this deck live in action and see me play these decks. And you could say, "Hey, that's a misplay." Hopefully, I make less than those. The more I play a deck, I feel like I'm getting better with the deck. We keep going X1, by the way, constantly going X1. Just nonstop. But yeah, thanks so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. It's your boy V and your Paisanos. You Paisanos have a great day.